Victoria now. Political consultant Michael Geoghegan is with us. Michael, happy long weekend to you.
Yes, very happy weekend to you as well.
Okay, so the Ontario election campaign clearly rolling along. Has anyone established clear momentum?
I don't think so. We've seen conflicting polling results. We've had some that have Kathleen Wynne of the Liberals in the lead. There's other polling that says, well, although the Liberals may be in the lead, if you break it down and look at who's the most likely to vote, the Conservatives are in the lead. So I would say it's really between those two that the fight is right now.
Debates can shake things up a little.
Absolutely. The polling also shows that there's a high percentage of undecided voters. There's also been people indicating, oh, we're going to vote for someone else. We're not going to vote NDP, Liberal, or Conservative. So that tells me that there's still a lot of people who are sitting back and waiting to make up their mind.
On the federal stage, Justin Trudeau clearly putting his foot down on the abortion issue. Why do you think he's doing that now?
I think he wants to. First of all, he wants it as a wedge issue between him and the federal Conservatives. There were some backbench Conservative MPs who tried to put forward a private members bill. Prime Minister Stephen Harper shut that down. But I think he decided that he wants to position the federal Liberals as sort of the most progressive party out there on issues such as this, and so thus he ordered this or issued this edict.
Okay, doesn't this put a wedge between members of his own caucus potentially and perhaps even members of the clergy?
Absolutely, and you have to keep in mind that for most of Canada's history, the Liberal Party of Canada was the party of predominantly of Catholics, and the Conservative Party was predominantly the party of Protestants. And now, as we have become a much more secular and multicultural society, that's changed. And in fact, even a majority of Roman Catholics believe in they tend to be pro-choice on the issue, but certainly that doesn't go with church doctrine. So we get into that area of the crossover between church and state, and the Prime Minister Harper has said, look, it's a personal matter, but we're certainly not going to be legislating on it. So again, it's one of those things where there's a political upside and a downside. But the fact remains is we're talking about Justin Trudeau today. We're talking about the Liberals. So not a bad strategy from that viewpoint.
We are also talking about the NDP a little this week because they were taking a grilling over their satellite offices. How do you think Thomas Mulcair did?
Thomas Mulcair is in a previous life, very gifted lawyer. Of course, he was also a Quebec provincial cabinet minister. But this is also the first time, as far as I know, first time in Canadian history that you've had an opposition leader summoned before a parliamentary committee. And, I think he did his best to sort of fend off the attacks from both the Liberals and the Conservatives, but clearly, from my viewpoint, they were pushing, at the very least, they were pushing the line in terms of, having staff that are paid for by taxpayers, and then establishing these regional offices in Toronto and Montreal and Quebec City. And obviously there's been clarification that says, no, you can't do that. And so his argument is, well, when we did it, it was fine. I would say that's a gray area. So I guess it'll be up to, the public to see whether or not this is an issue they still care about in a few years' time. I suspect it won't be, but it does reinforce that image that the NDP tend to play a little fast and loose with taxpayer dollars.
Michael, thank you very much. The barbecue awaits.
Absolutely.